Hello, and thank you for listening to the podcast. We appreciate it, and we appreciate a lot of help from a lot of people all throughout this journey. So we've got a couple of shout-outs we're going to make here. The first shout-out being to Beck Sutton, the graphics designer who is designing our logo. She is the creator and owner of Primal Studios, which can be found on Facebook. Or if you go to primalst.com, you'll be able to find her work there, and she is fantastic at what she does.
Yeah, and the second shout out we'd like to make is to Andrew Stanton, composer of the song Escape the Oppression, which is the kick-ass song for our intro. We love the song, we love the dude. You can check out more of his stuff on soundstripe.com, where there's plenty of songs by plenty of other artists as well, where you can license for podcasts. So go check it out and see what's on there and see what you can use.
Stay frosty. Hello and welcome to the Songs and Neighbours, a podcast I like to say, running with the T-Rex, a very scary T-Rex. And we also like to say that tetanus. We also like to say that tetanus is cool, and please, kids, stick safety pins in your ears. It's a fucking joke.
So we have a guest today, which is our good friend Mike, who will not understand a single word of that.
And Connor, who hasn't heard the edited version of that one yet, he doesn't understand.
Yeah, I love how we invite our friends onto this podcast, and they're like, "Oh yeah, right, well, let's be on our best behavior and everything like that," and then they don't know what it's about. So when Mike comes on, he just thinks you're having a mental breakdown.
Yeah, I'm
like, all right, we'll start...
yeah, these guys high.
Yeah, let's start the podcast. And why is he running from a T-Rex?
For those who listened to potentially last week's, potentially a fortnight ago, who knows the canon, so fucked at this point. But to those who listen to that podcast will stand, all right? And by that, I mean the three people.
Sorry.
I think I've already bottled this one, haven't I? Really?
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. We'll keep rolling.
Let it flow.
Sorry, fuck Tom Morello.
Oh God, we're bringing everything back. This. Are you giving Mike the shotgun introduction, the shotgun introduction of our podcast? We'll recap him. This
Yeah.
I've heard the Tom Morello one.
Yeah.
This is our clip show. You know, like when it gets season 5 and they can't be asked to produce any more episodes, so it's going to be my greatest hits.
Greatest hits of stupid shit Jake has said.
My phone just lagged and it honestly sounded like you said migrants hits.
Oh God. No, this one won't be political. I'm making a stand now. This one's not going to be political.
As soon as it does, I'm off, mate.
I fucking support Ben and Jerry's in their fight against the Tory government.
Aye.
I'm just laying it out there. I want Ben and Jerry's to, as a company to be prime minister, and it's just like one of the little fucking tubs of fish food or something. It comes out to the lectern and does speeches. What was that, Mr. Fish Food? They've got to do it like it's a fucking puppet, like it's Emu.
Yeah, but it would be the top connoisseur of the Ben and Jerry's.
It's got to be me.
the way you said that, it was such
gotta
a
be me.
tone. Yeah. It was your face. You said that with such confidence of yeah, duh,
It's
me.
fucking me. There's no question about it.
I'm gonna rule the fucking country
Mike,
with my
don't ask stupid questions.
Yeah, fair one.
It's me and the reptilian elite.
Fuck's sake.
I'm gonna fucking unmask the Queen on public television.
Can't do that during times like this.
She's been wearing it a lot longer than coronavirus has been around. She knew something was in the fucking water.
Oh God.
I'll unmask her and it'll be a 6-headed demon beast with a cunt on each face.
Okay, so. So welcome to the podcast, Mike.
Cheers, mate.
Lovely to have you.
It. Oh yeah, thanks for having me on. Six of the Dean Gunface.
I think that's the perfect introduction any guest can have to a podcast.
Can you get away? Can you get away with? Can you get away with naming the podcast that?
What,
These guys just have to put stars in the title, wouldn't you?
That's
Yeah.
Rello, so yeah, I could put.
Do it.
The only way to defeat her is to fuck each and every one
There we go.
individually.
There goes any of our fans who are royalists. But suddenly we've got a load of fans who are conspiracy theorists. So that's good.
Well, it's like I think I've crossed the divide.
They're the
I've got,
best sort of fan.
Yeah.
yeah, we could say any shit and they'll start believing it.
Bring intrigue into every conversation you have.
It's like in the like flat Earth newspapers there'll be
Flat Earther Today.
yeah Flat Earth of Today.
The Daily Flat Earther.
Underneath the headline, "The world is still flat," it will be leader of Ben and Jerry's calls the Queen a lizard with
Six-headed
heads.
six-headed lizard beast with a cunt on each head. And the only way to defeat her and end the tyranny of the royal family is to fuck each and every cunt individually for at least 45 minutes at a time.
This is
Until-
very
in-
complex.
Until the head of the beast, until each and every head reaches the point of climax and gushes like a valley, a river through a valley.
Do you know that moment where a joke, a really
jumps on
funny
a
joke, a really funny joke gets really weird?
It just jumps the shark and suddenly people aren't as invested.
Well, now we're just worried for you.
It's sort of bored if you've been watching. That's what I want to do.
Well, it's the benefit of
Just
Pornhub
typed in
Premium.
Queen getting ragged one day and it came up with a six-headed beast.
No, unfortunately, if you search Queen getting ragged, it just shows a lot of photos of Freddie Mercury during his heyday. Oh fuck! This is not.
You're on
Great
fire.
start,
You're on fire today, man.
This is going out to the public.
Yeah, it is.
Oh dear, I've made a grave error.
So once again,
You can
thanks for
take
coming
you
on,
can take
Mike.
charge for a minute.
Yeah, I'll take charge for a sec. I'll bring us
So I'm
back
not
on
to be
track.
trusted near a
Let
microphone.
Jake have five.
So thanks very much for coming on, Mike. For those of you listening, Mike is another really old close friend of ours that we used to hang around with at school, been in many a band with. He's a sick guitarist. Got a good
Friends with
fucking...
too long.
Yeah, some might say. He's a sick guitarist, got a great singing voice as well, although he won't admit to it.
Ah, thanks,
See?
babes.
I don't remember the great vocal stylings of Mike Ditch.
No, it's something you've dabbled in recently, isn't it? You're getting into your vocal covers.
Yeah, basically just since having Jackson, I ain't got the time to play guitar because I work nearly every hour under the sun. And it's just easy to just sit there and just bang out some vocals. Don't rate myself, but it's just fun. You know,
Yeah, man.
just sit there and get every single emotion out on the microphone is great.
Yeah,
Music's always been a relaxer for me, innit? So doing that is just great fun.
I think I have the answer to my outburst at the start of the podcast. I haven't actually taken my medication yet today.
all right.
Which, when you have bipolar, it's probably a good idea that you should take it, just in case you end up on a manic one.
Bit late for that.
Yeah, unfortunately, I should have thought of that at least 12 hours ago, ideally. But I didn't have the
Good
foresight.
time,
Well, unfortunately, I didn't have the foresight that I was going to make a complete tit out of myself on two podcasts in a row.
So we already we've already talked to your brother Joel. I don't know whether that will come out before this or after this. We'll wait and see. But Joel picked Shogun for his album by Trivium, which we've already discussed before this podcast, that you would have picked as well. It's also your favourite.
All-time favourite album it is. Well, I wouldn't say all-time. It's just an all-round great album for thrash.
Yeah. Completely.
And,
But
well,
then,
not just thrash. Like that, the era that came out in was like the era of the screamer metal coming in and it being the big thing, but it was also frowned upon still.
yeah. Well, we dove into that quite a bit with Joel and that, and unfortunately, you just draw the lucky, the shortest straw by being after him. So you've had to pick a different album.
Is it bad that-
But it's still a great album.
Is it bad that when you say short straw, literally my head goes straight to short
Metallica.
straw? Dun, 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 dun. I don't know. Right.
No,
It's
I'm
gonna-
saying.
It's going to take a while for my medication to kick in, by the way.
Yeah, it's all good.
It's probably not going to kick in until I go to sleep, like 6 hours time.
So the album Mike has picked is Scream Aim Fire by Bullet For My Valentine. I have no idea what year that came out. I'm not.
2008, the same as Shogun.
Yeah.
There you
That's a
go.
great year for music.
Yeah, so Scream
wow.
Aim Fire came out in January 2008, I believe, and Shogun was September. So
Yeah.
this came out before Shogun.
And then both in the same sort of lane genre of music, sort of your fast, more melodic heavy metal.
Cherry are heavier, I think, but Bullet have got like the distinguished sound that was coming through at the time. I think it was like a, I can't remember what it's called. Is it core metal? Yeah, I think it is.
Metalcore.
Metalcore, that's it, yeah. Because I listen to all sorts. I don't even put them down to a title anymore. So it's like metalcore was coming through, wasn't it? You had Avenged Sevenfold, Bullet, what's the other one? Atreyu, Disturbed, all that crap. It's cross genres, isn't it? But they're all great.
Yeah, man. But I think for a little while, especially with the release of this album, I think Bullet were like sort of leading the way, especially in terms of popularity. Like this album,
this was
album
the one
blew
that pushed them over the top, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think they've sold out. I think that like now that album was their genuinely masterpiece. Like it was, I still can't knock that album. Other than actually, I found out the other day that a lot of that album is auto-tuned.
Oh really?
Vocals. Yeah, because
know that.
He went on tour with doing the Poison the album before, and they fucked his voice basically. So
Yeah,
they had to auto-tune a lot of the recording to Scream Fire.
Well, they also apart from Scream Aim with Fire, which they either auto-tuned or did do the actual recording for it, a lot of the vocals were pulled from the demos as well.
Yeah. Matt doesn't like his vocals on that album. Ironically, he doesn't really like that album. But
that's weird. But then we kind of talked a little bit about Bullet from Valentine with Joel as well, and he's a bit of a weird one in general. Like, I mean, I think I've seen Bullet live. Have you two seen? I know Mike's seen Bullet live.
I haven't. No, I was never a Bullet fan.
Pardon? What'd you say, Mike?
I've seen him 3 times.
Yeah, and I don't know about you personally, but when I saw him live, I just didn't think he was up to standard live. Personally,
he wasn't like the first time I saw him, they were fucking amazing. But I think that was just after the release of Fever. It might have been Temper, I can't remember.
Yeah.
No, it was Fever, and then I saw him after Temper twice, and they were fucking great all 3 times. But after Fever, he was going through like that vocal stage where he didn't know because of the recording of Screaming Fire.
Yeah.
He was trying to find his voice again, and it was just broken.
Yeah. See, I saw them just after Scream Aim Fire, and I can't remember who they were supporting because I went to see another band, and I wasn't even really into Bullet at the time.
Did they do Taste of Chaos?
Not sure.
No, Taste of Chaos was. No,
that was a couple of years later, wasn't it?
But
I
yeah,
the Rockstar one we all went to. That was Disturbed.
Oh, Papa Roach and
Papa
Roach, Hailstorm.
No, when I saw Bullet, it was in Wales. I can't remember why I went there, who I went with. I can't remember. I don't think so, man. I don't think so.
I don't remember that. But...
Oh, I remember.
I went to Joshua Cameron.
Yeah, I remember a bunch of you. Yeah, I remember a bunch of you going to Motorpoint to watch Bullet years back.
But yeah, I agree, man. Like after this album, I got this album on CD, and I loved it. Really, like couldn't stop listening to it at the time. And then I went back and listened to their stuff before, which I loved as well. And then basically right after this, Fever is the album after this, isn't it?
Yeah.
I couldn't stand Fever. I found Fever because I really liked how technically difficult they were, or they were just a lot faster and a lot more thrashy. And then when it got to Fever, they really I don't want to say they slowed it down and went real basic with it, and I didn't like that. That's not. I just didn't think it suited them as well, and since then I've not enjoyed them.
It's like me and Joel, we both found. Well, Joel found metal first because I used to be into all the fucking rap and all that bollocks. We grew up with rock, but then we found metal through playing games, so like NFL, Need for Speed, all that crap. Bullet, Avenged Sevenfold, they were all on it, and Trivium. And we found, I think it was 4 Words to Choke Upon was the first Bullet song I heard. And I fucking hated it because I didn't like screaming at the time. I couldn't stand it.
Yeah.
But then Screaming Fire come out, and I think what song was it?
Would it have been Waking the Demon? Waking Demon's the big one.
Waking the Demon was like they obviously had the video version and the Screamer version, which is the album version.
Yeah.
I think it was Say Goodnight, to be fair, because I was still back then. I was into like the more softer metal and the normal sing, and then it just progressed like that. I think that's why I chose that album, because it became like a big thing for me. Like metal was just massive in my head.
I think for anyone getting into this kind of metal specifically, the Bullet's earlier albums are a great entry point for anybody getting into metal.
Yeah, definitely.
Because they're a lot more melodic than a lot of other metal at the time, and he does scream, but I don't know, his
You can
scream.
understand what he's saying when he's screaming.
His screaming is a little bit more bearable, I suppose, than a lot of other people's, or it's not as rough.
No, I think he's progressed in like over the from because obviously he fucked his vocal cords from the Poison, the tour, and he came back with Screaming Fire, and it was obviously amazing to us, but I didn't know it was all tuned. The Fever, it was a bit in between. Temper, he came back with really basic guitar, which pissed me off, but the screaming and the vocals were great. A lot of people don't like the vocals now. I think they're fucking ace. Like, I think he got them on point, but again, it was back to it's not a fucking all around great band. It's just you got good vocals at the moment. Your riffs is pretty shit for their standard. From going from Screaming Fire to that, it was disappointing.
Well, yeah, especially when riff-wise for Screaming Fire, they are very. One of the things I always look at, especially with newer bands or bands that sort of came after like the high point of thrash in the 80s, is always looking at the thread of their influences, and you can tell riff-wise straight away they're influenced by Metallica, Maiden, things like that. Yeah, Megadeth as well, especially. So all the riffs on it were that sort of Metallica, Megadeth style, where it's these complex, fast, fucking in-your-face riffs. Yeah, proper thrash, motherfucker riffs.
Even the solos, they're fucking sick. Like, to this day, Screaming Fire is one of my favorite solos. It is incredible.
Yes, they nailed it. And back in this album, they just found it. They found it like their perfect sort of medium of all of that shit coming together, and it really worked. This album is by far their best album, I think.
Yeah, there's no doubt. The Poison's fucking great, like especially for a first album. But Screaming Fire just topped it. It was fucking ace. It's really annoying because I fucking can't stand Bullet anymore. Like, I very rarely listen to him. But I still listen to that
Joel was
album,
saying the same thing. Joel was saying the same thing, and I gave up after this album. The second I heard Fever, I was like, I'm just not into this at all. I'm not digging it. Yeah. Jake, you were never massively into Bullet anyway, were you?
No, I thought they were posers. Like 100%. I around that sort of time, I was still before I got more into punk, indie, DIY, that kind of stuff. So I was still fucking Metallica, Maiden. They're your gods. Yeah. They're the be all end all. So anybody who even sounded a slightly like Metallica, I'll judge them by Metallica standards and be like, well, this isn't Injustice. Fuck off. Which unfortunately,
I completely get that. To be fair, I've been the same with some bands, and I'm just like, what is your influence? Because whatever your influence is, it's fucking shit. But that's because like the metal that I like is very influenced by Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, all like the great 80s thrash bands. Well, and then it progresses into what it is now, like fucking Trivium, Slipknot, Machine Head, all those big bangers now that would have been the next big four, if you ask me. They keep that classic 80s thrash sound in most of their songs, mixed with the modern day metal.
I think the problem with Bullet, especially after this album, is that everything they were doing, there were other bands doing it better. And that's the thing. And even with this, like this album, they peak, and this album is really excellent. And I would say it is genuinely a great album in the genre. But I would still say there are other bands that have like, well, yeah, I think Shogun's a better album than this, and it came out the same year. But having said that, like I said, this is perfect for people who are not that massively into metal yet, or getting into it.
It's a gateway, isn't it?
Completely, and I think for that reason, it's probably better on a more accessible scale. Yeah.
Well, I think an issue as well, especially for this album, is timing-wise, with it coming out in January 2008. 2 months prior, you had Avenged Sevenfold's self-titled album, which I will hold up as not necessarily the best album, but a very accessible metal album with great riffs, amazing technical solos, all that kind of stuff in there. And with songs like Critical Acclaim, A Little Piece of Heaven, Afterlife, like big
were
songs.
amazing. Like, to this day, they're still in my top. I reckon at least 50 songs. Me and Joel have had this discussion many a times about what our top 10 would be, but it constantly changes. We cannot stick to an all-time. We got our all-time favorites, but even then, it's just like they fade away.
Yeah.
Fade to Black used to be my favorite song ever. It probably is still one of my favorites. I don't talk about it. I don't hardly listen to it anymore.
Yeah, but that just happens. Your music taste widens and you listen to more shit. And there's just more bands coming out, and that's just gonna happen. But
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. The thing is with Avenged, where I would say they're less accessible than Bullet. I think Avenged is definitely better than Bullet in my opinion. But I will say I know people that don't like Avenged because they can't get with the way he sings, because he's got such a unique voice.
I love his voice.
I love his voice as well, but I can understand someone not liking it.
Well, it's going to sound like
I think he's got one of the most unique voices in metal.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the thing. When it's unique, it's not everyone's going to love it.
But I think Avenged also had the benefit of, you look at the core musicians in that group. So obviously, Shaz does the vocals. He's not necessarily a great singer, but he's got his unique style, which works well for the band. But you've got Sinister Gates, who's obviously classically trained guitarist and phenomenal at it.
One of the best, yeah.
And Zachy V ain't exactly a bad guitarist. And then during that period, obviously, we have the Rev on the drums. And Johnny Christ is an incredibly underrated bassist.
Yeah.
But the Rev...
Yeah, but that's because he's a Muppet.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
But the Rev was amazing. Like, the Rev was...
He was... Mate, when he died, I actually cried. Like, legit. I never cry with musicians. Like, even when Chester Bennington died, I didn't cry. Even though I was savage about it. But the Rev, I think... Because I just got into metal, like, I think it must have been about 2 years in when he died. It was the first time, being a teenager, I'd heard of a death in music.
Yeah.
And for it to be such a legend, I was like, oh, fuck, that's hit me hard, man. Because I thought that was the end of Avenged Sevenfold at the time, to be honest. I didn't think they were the end of a drummer.
Annoyingly, I'd only got into Avenged pretty much just after he died, so from Nightmare onwards.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I'd sort of
that
missed out
album's
on the
creepingly eerie.
Sorry.
Yeah, and especially when you hear like his little backing vocals on certain parts, or you listen to Fiction.
Yeah,
because that's a really fucking haunting song. I was going to say something.
I like the way they incorporated, like, when they brought the new drummers in, because they had two, didn't they? It wasn't just one straight away, I don't think.
Well, I know. So Mike Portney did the tour with them, and he finished the recording.
God, he's insane.
Well, he did the recordings that.
Sorry, my dog again. He's becoming a feature in this podcast.
Everybody, that was Fudge.
Special guest.
Dog.
Yeah. Fudge the Shih Tzu.
He's a little shit bastard, is what he is. But he's making a running appearance on the podcast for the billionth time. Now, all we need to do to hit Connor Bingo is now for your dad to interrupt. We start bollocking you for something.
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
I need to make up bingo cards for it, actually.
That's like a standard day in the life of Connor, that does.
Yeah, pretty much.
And we get to document it on the podcast. It's the only reason I set it up, is I just want to put Connor in the most awkward position where he's definitely going to get into an altercation at some point.
Yeah. This is essentially like an audio documentary that you're trying to set up. One day you'll have all this material and you'll piece it together to just show how fucked up my life is.
I've got a better theory on it. Do you remember? Do you remember when people used to record homeless people having fights, and it's like bum fighting on YouTube? That's what I'm doing. I'm trying to. This is why we do the webcam on Skype. See, I told you. Fucking interrupted now.
Yeah, that's my mum this time though.
All right, I'll let her off.
All right. She brought me mozzarella sticks, so I can't be sad about it.
If you start crunching on the podcast, I will punch you through the screen.
I've been crunching for the last 10 minutes.
But yeah, I know, but you've been doing it quietly. I don't trust him. He's got shifty eyes.
Hey. What?
Crazy eyes.
He does have crazy eyes.
I was thinking about it the other day. The last time I saw you, like, hung around with you, because obviously I saw you at Shock a couple months ago, right? When we actually hung around with you was when we fucking tried learning Hallowed Be Thy Name, Machine Head's cover. Do you remember that?
No, I don't. I really
He
don't.
came down my mum and dad's, and it's the first time we'd ever properly jammed together. And we sat, and I had learned half the song already, I think, and then you just had to learn the bass for it. I think it took us about an hour and a half, and like we fucking aced it, and it sounded great. I'm pretty sure that's the last time we hung out.
Probably. I know it's been a long time because I pretty much disappeared from public life for several years and went off to do my own thing and get high a lot. But no, I think like Hallowed Be Thy Name, it's probably one of the only Maiden songs where I can go back to and just purely on muscle memory know every fucking single note from that song on bass and some on guitar. I can't do the
I've
solos.
completely forgot it, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, it's the best way of dealing with a great song. Yeah, sort of. Yeah.
Fear of the Dark sticks in my head, though. I could pick up the guitar and play that straight away.
That's just so iconic now, though.
Yeah.
That's like one of those. It's just one of those songs, isn't it?
Pure epic.
We'll get into it when we do a future podcast about Maiden, but Fear of the Dark is one of the songs I fucking hate playing.
Because you've heard it too much.
I've heard it a lot, but also it's the way Steve Harris plays. So most bassists, and Mike will know, he did years as bass as well, didn't you, for a fair while. But most bassists, you'll just play a root note, and you'll keep that root note going. You may go up the scale, you may go down the scale. But Steve Harris would chuck in a chord, then play a gallop, chuck in another chord, do a gallop, hit the fucking chord again, then go down. And so you're constantly having to adjust your hand as you're playing, and it's fucking painful. The amount of times that I've split my fingers open doing that, like on the edge of a pickup by accidentally cracking that. And so Fear of the Dark was always one I hated, even though it's more of a slower version for doing that. I just never liked it. But then I'm more than happy to do it in a bunch of other songs. Oh yeah, especially when you get into more like the do 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 do.
It did take me a while to learn that one. It was fucking definitely tricky.
That's the thing with Iron Maiden. They're just one of those bands that they're so good, but you don't realize how good they are until you actually start diving into the music.
Yeah, it's when you
underappreciate it because you got to study it. Right?
Well, I think Number of the Beast is still one of my all-time favorite guitar solos. The first one by, I think it's Dave Murray solo. This is my. What we're gonna do is we're gonna play
Jake's little guitar solos.
I would grab my actual guitar and attempt to play it, but I fear it'd be an embarrassment for all involved. So it's probably best not doing. No, that's what we need to do. We need to do. Do you remember on Buzzcocks where they used to do, intros, where you'd have to. Do you remember watching everyone Buzzcocks?
No, yeah, I'm just slightly looking at Mike because it looks like he's blowing up a balloon.
That's just for tits.
Is that your bowl?
Yes, it's bowl.
Oh, yeah. I was just so confused as to what's going on.
Yeah, like for about a second I thought it was a balloon, and then I realised that it's made of China. most balloons
from China.
Most balloons are not ceramic.
Well, I couldn't tell. I'm sorry.
I could hear the scraping as well. That's usually a key indicator that it's not a balloon.
Sorry, I'm on the last mouthful. Stop now.
It's all right, mate. For people who don't know,
Right.
Mike has just gotten back from work, so him eating on the podcast is perfectly acceptable. Connor chomping down on his mozzarella sticks in a loud bastard fashion, not so acceptable.
Wait, can you actually hear me chomping them down?
No one can. I just want to abuse you.
Nah, it just sounds like you got a mouthful of cock like normal.
He does have blowjob eyes.
What? I have blowjob eyes?
Yeah.
Thanks, mate.
You look like you can maintain beautiful eye contact whilst going down on a man.
I don't know if it's gay or blowjob eyes or the comment you just gave it.
So, the really cool thing about Scream Aim Fire.
Oh, here we go. Back to the main topic. I see what you're trying to do. I'm sorry, carry on.
Well,
I need another break.
We talked a little bit about it anyway. With like Matt Tuck with his singing. Did you?
That is the first
Ah,
do
there
that.
is. I knew this one was going to be trouble, man. Like, the thing is, I can rein you in and get it back onto topic, but I can't rein both of you in.
Well, you're forgetting. I haven't seen Mike in such a long time, and same with the Joel one as well. Like, I've got to show off a bit and be a bit of a dick.
Mike's being as bad.
This is what me and Mike used to be like back in the heyday. Yeah, for those who didn't hear, Mike did let out an audible ripper.
No, they'll be able to hear it. That was loud.
Borderline breaking the trombone.
And he now has a nice brown stain running down his arse.
Oh, God.
Asking about the other end now.
I feel like I'm just witnessing two people fall apart.
Connor, talk about Scream Aim Fire.
Right.
I don't know if it's funnier because it's over Skype.
Right. So,
I didn't think you'd hear it.
so
It was quite loud.
it was quite loud.
It was quite loud.
So, the thing about Matt Tuck, right, is we talked about it a little bit in Joel's podcast as well, and we've mentioned it here. He struggled with his singing a little bit, and we also mentioned in Joel's podcast that he's a bit arrogant. And yeah, and the thing is, so throughout all of Bullet's career, he's taken the reins, and he's sort of, in a really toxic way as well, he's sort of been like, yeah, it's my band, I'm doing all of this, I write the music and everything like that. Now, that is a bit of a dick move, in our opinion. I'm speaking for you, but I mean, we all agree that's probably a bit of a dick move.
I agree.
Yeah,
It does take a lot of
said
skill, though.
yeah, that's what I was about to say. Having said that, like, well, then you can go, well, this whole great album was basically his doing, which is quite impressive.
I can't judge him on that based solely on the fact that I once split up our band whilst we were doing Grease over musical differences. So
Yeah, you keep bringing that up.
it's because it was a highlight of my life. It was the only time that I felt like I was a proper musician. I fucking quit the
Man,
I'm glad we both
To be
went for
fair,
that.
we're
I
gonna keep
completely
making
forgot
Metallica
about
references.
Venom.
Pardon him?
Venom is actually a great album from Bullet. Like that was yeah, me and Joel thought, like, even Joel listened to that. Joel gave up on Bullet Fever same year, and yeah, because I think it was Temper was before Venom, I believe. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And then, like, after Temper, like I said, I didn't mind it, but it wasn't great. So I was slowly giving up on myself. And then Venom came out, and it was like the old Bullet. It was melodic, great riffs, thrashy as fuck, good solos, and good lyrics.
I'm not gonna lie, I haven't heard it. Because like I said, I gave them up, so I never went back, sort of thing. But I'll give that a listen.
Well, going back to him being arrogant and wanting to be creative and in control of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see how much he's credited as doing on this album?
No, I haven't actually.
So vocals, guitar, bass, production, fucking everything. Everyone else still gets a credit on it, but it's like, yeah, well, I've done all this. So I wonder how many disputes they've had over royalties at some point.
Is that on Screaming Fire?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Auto-Tune gets the fucking main royalty on that, doesn't it?
Well, that's on the album as a whole, but yeah, Auto-Tune and crappy demos are the two main sources.
I actually met
Haj
I met Haj, the guitarist from Bullet in February.
Connor, can you put your tit away, please?
Oh.
It's distracting me.
And he's nowhere near as arrogant. He was generally a nice bloke.
What, the guitarist?
Yeah, because we went to see Five Finger Death Punch in Cardiff in February, and he was in the crowd in the smoking area.
Cool.
We were all having a fag, and I recognised him straight away. I walked up to him and I chatted with him. But he was there advertising a band that he's producing.
Nice.
He gave me a badge. It's fucking brilliant. But he was like generally down to earth. I didn't care. Whereas I think if I met Matt, it would have been like, yeah, I want my own fucking private area where I can go smoking all this bollocks if I'm going to be in the crowd and shit like that.
That's the thing, though. But man, some talented people be like that. It's just.
Which I get, but
sometimes you need that mentality to get as far as you go. I reckon if he wasn't that way, they may not have gotten big. Do you know what I mean?
No.
Do you want me to invite him on the podcast?
Huh?
Which one of us are you eyeing at?
I'm eyeing at you, Jake.
Keep breaking up.
Do you want me to invite him on the podcast so we can tell him
Who's
he's
that?
arrogant?
Who?
Matt
Matt Tuck.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do
he'd
it.
be sure to come on.
Stranger
Random
things have
dudes from Plymouth have invited me to a podcast.
happened. Hey, it's happened once so
And
far.
they called me an arrogant prick, and
I had to defend. Why has he got an American accent? He's Welsh.
Yeah,
yeah, that's a good
Oh, that's
point.
preposterous. I don't know why I got an American accent. I'm from the
Down
valleys.
the valleys, I respect it.
I'm from the valleys. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know where I went from at some point. I almost transitioned into a Scouse accent. So he said, "Fucking steal your hubcaps, why not, you fucking prick?"
Fucking sound, please.
Our Indian fans are going to love this material, but the Scouse fans, it's going to be a backlash.
Never too high.
So I need to write a list of who I've offended so far on the podcast. So the Queen,
yeah. This is a good one for that, man.
Queen and Freddie Mercury I've offended.
Yeah.
This film won't be broadcasted.
I don't think-
the first way you turn around and go, nah, it's too volatile.
I don't think this one's getting monetized by YouTube anytime soon,
No.
for fear of public outrage. There's going to be an effigy of me burning in Plymouth City Centre, like on Sundial.
So, what do you guys think of his songwriting then? In this album specifically?
It's fucking ace, man. It's pure. Like, a lot of it is the classic thrash feel to me. Like, Screw of Fire is singing about war, and that is what a lot of bands sung about in the thrash era. And
Yeah, it's definitely
it
influenced.
fucking suits that style of guitar, the style of music. It just suits it down to a T. Then you got things like Awaken a Demon, which is very creative. It's obviously, like, the music video portrays it as waking a werewolf and all that shit, but it's obviously about fucking your own demons.
And
which is great.
that riff is so fucking good as well.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah,
that
man.
guitar.
As when I finally learned that guitar, I creamed in my pants. It was one of my favourite moments, like learning guitar ever. But now I play it and I'm like, yeah, it's shit.
That's the issue, like when you learn something that you've wanted to learn for ages. I remember first learning From the Bell Tolls and then afterwards going, well, that's pretty fucking easy, wasn't it? Cliff Burton's overrated.
That's such a fine example, to be fair. It's like one of the most boring songs to play on guitar, but it just sounds epic.
Yeah.
As a general, the song sounds amazing, and even the guitar sounds class. When you play it, it's just like, it's very basic chord movement. I've got to the point with guitar that I want to progress. Like, I think that's why I've stopped playing as well, because I'm stuck in a rut with it. I'm bored of just learning songs, and then I can do this. I want to be able to fucking actually master it.
Do you
without lessons? I don't think I'm going to be able to.
No,
My playing style is just arrogant.
There's another way of
stuck in ways.
There's another way of doing it, mate. Which is the way I'm going to do with bass eventually. Do your grades.
Do what?
Do your grades. So you can get
Grades.
so you can get your actual the books with the lessons in them effectively, which would take you through the grade tests,
Right.
which might introduce you to a few more bits and bobs.
Yeah,
Because
it's fair.
Because it will. Well, I think it will look more. I've only got the first couple at the moment. I haven't actually looked at them yet for bass. I've had them for about 6 months. But it more or less can take you down music theory as well, which help composition, which is what I suck at.
I might have a look there.
Yeah,
They do something instead of just stuck in a rut.
Failing that, pick a complete random genre.
Yeah,
Adam
weird.
told me to do that. He said start learning blues, and I was like, yeah, because I've heard blues is a really big progression point, especially for like rhythm and like just feeling the guitar. And I'm like, yeah, it does sound great, but like I said, I'm fucking arrogant with playing guitar. I'm very stuck in my ways, which is just play as fast as I can, play as hard as I can, and it's always worked for me. It just I picked up the guitar because Joel picked up the guitar. I started learning because he started learning, and he started learning thrash, and it was like, all right, I'll start learning thrash. And it's just I've been the same since, but then obviously like in my head I progressed past Joel because Joel stopped playing. And
to be fair, he said the same thing. He said
Joel's amazing at guitar, but he stopped, and it was just like, oh, sorry, and
oh man,
we need to get a We need to get a separate mic for his arse.
But just need to get like a fart funnel that projects a sound out of the arse.
It's like we got a fourth person on the podcast that's got a lot to say.
He just pipe it in.
Tie up the podcast. That's free on my ass. Oh, Connor knows what it feels like to have a wrap on my ass. Then you can.
Oh god damn.
He fart in his pipes.
Yeah, he did.
You remember that story, didn't you?
Yeah, this is so we had a sleepover years
You're
and years
basically
ago.
Cartman.
Yeah, basically. Years and years ago.
Mouth next.
Oh man, it's
Me
great.
next. Oh God, you got to tell it.
Nah, it's all good, mate.
Connor, I have told the story on the podcast of me racing disabled people from a bus stop back to my
Yeah,
house.
all right, that's
So,
fair.
I have. You'll have to listen to the episode with episode number 4 with Gary Brooking for that one, which
the
is
standards are lowering and lowering. But
that
basically,
episode
yeah,
title
this
is Jake's Wacky Races.
but back in the day where we used to have sleepovers and stuff, where we used to play video games and drink a bit and have some snacks and stuff. And Mike used to have this cool like attic, which was our like gaming attic where we all like stayed up there and slept. And I passed out first, and I felt the brunt of Mike's ass waking me up. Essentially, he sat right on my face.
Oh, it was class. Yeah, but it was me laid one way, and then you were laid opposite way, so head to toe, and then Adam was the same way as me, the opposite side of you. And me and Adam were just sat watching videos on, I think it was a Sony Ericsson at the time, the phone. And I said to Adam, I was like, mate, I need a shit. And he's like, well, you can't get out. You're going to wake Connor up. I was like, fuck him. Being the assholes that we were back then. I still am, to be fair. But and then Dad said, well, I'm not moving. I was like, all right, I'll try and make it a fart. And that was it. It was like, yeah, this is coming now. And then I had the bright idea to just cock a leg over Connor because obviously it's head to toe. But his nose pretty much was in my ass crack and fart. And then he woke up and punched me in the balls.
Oh.
It's
right.
It could have ended up being Cameron laughing his ass off.
We all finished laughing our ass off for about 5 minutes and then we stopped and then we heard was Cameron who we thought was asleep on the floor just giggle.
Yeah.
Oh, to be fair, like I think I got Connor back for you because I once punted Connor in the balls.
Yeah, really hard. So this is another story. We went camping up on the moors with a load of us, again with some drink and stuff like that.
That was a lot of us.
Yeah. And we were setting up the tents, and I'm bent over, like genuinely setting up the tents. And Jake's like half a football field away. Like, I don't know, he's quite far away. But I'm bent over.
Back when I was still sort of like in football shape as well.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I could still put on a bit of pace.
Or the way I think back on it is Jake just saw an opportunity and went for it.
Yep.
And he ran, and I didn't know. So I'm bent over. I'm setting up the tent. And all I hear are these like footsteps, like really fast, running up to me. And before I have a chance to get up or turn around, he's kicked me so hard in the balls from behind. My legs lifted off the ground. Like there was a good second where I was completely in the air, and I was laying on the floor for about an hour. I thought I was gonna die.
To be fair, I think for like all of our friendship, you've always been subject to abuse.
He was
of course I have. Anybody listening to this podcast has worked that out by now.
He was not happy.
You and Josh, to be fair, you and Josh are at the worst. Josh still gets bad now.
Yeah, Josh does still get it bad.
Well, I think before I punted Connor as well, he was trying to take photographs for his for art. I think he was taking like photographs of them more, and I just leapt in front of the camera and fucking whipped my trousers down.
Yeah,
just bared my ass on it.
Because why not?
And all I heard
look into the dark abyss.
All I heard from behind us was one of the girls was with to shout, "That is the hairiest ass I have ever seen."
Yeah.
So from that point on, I was known as Whoopie Ass.
Whoopie Ass.
Connor also gave me the nice nickname of Cannon Cock at one point as well.
I can't remember that.
It was we'd both gone to the toilet at the same time, and you had listened to me piss.
I didn't listen. No, that makes
on
it that makes it sound like I had my ear pressed against the wall, just
pretty much
waiting for
did.
you to piss. No,
I literally-
we were in cubicles side by side, both pissing, and I couldn't hear my own piss over yours because it was so fucking loud.
So he decided to wait for you right outside my cubicle. So as soon as I came out, he just went, "You pissed so loudly, so you got to cut him for a cock." And like literally everywhere we went for about a year after that, it was just like we'd always end up needing the toilet at the same time. And he's just like, "I'm embarrassed by this." It's like us being stuck in Taunton on that failed trip to get you on Star Wars.
Yeah.
And it was like, "Cannon cock right again." It's like the first time we've been in a place for a couple of years. Oh, that's actually we just need to keep talking about my great nicknames at school. I was nicknamed Babe Magnet for some reason.
Who nicknamed you that? Self-proclaimed.
No, that was Flockar, Adam, and I can't remember if Darryl was involved at that point. But actually, no, I'm not going to go into that story. That's not mine to tell. I just realised there was a very awesome story. But I'm sorry, people. That may be on like a Patreon special if you all want to pay for it. Where I accidentally blistered one of our old school friends.
Standard.
Put it this way: somebody decided to use their mattress as a masturbatory aid.
Oh God.
If I remember rightly, they got a. This is going to sound like I'm talking about one of the guys that I've just mentioned. It's not, but they I can't remember if they got like a carrier bag and then put like a warm moist flannel in there and then put it in between their mattress and the frame and just fucked it.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Is it Alan Mill by any chance?
No, it's not. The Birmingham
There is no hope for this podcast.
It was definitely
There is no hope for this podcast.
Definitely Adam who was wanking in the bed in
fair,
Birmingham. Because if you remember
right,
rightly,
get blamed for this, but I think I've been tame.
It's 100% my fault.
No, in all fairness, Mike, you contributed, but you have been tamed for what you are.
Unfortunately, Mike's egged me on without realising. So I've just become this mutant beast. But no, it was definitely Adam who was wanking in the bed at Birmingham, because if you remember rightly, he was horny all that fucking time. Like the 3 days we were there, he was just constantly going on like, "We've got to find some girls," and to the point where he leapt on the bed at one point and just started fucking at missionary. Like, we just want some.
That's Adam every trip ever. To be honest,
yeah, that is Adam.
That is literally Adam. He doesn't do anything but that.
I'm really excited for when he comes on this podcast now, because there's no way he would have listened to this episode.
Oh, fucking
he's like, until he's had a drink, he's completely tamed. Like, he will not be like that.
Yeah, I know.
Well, that's the thing, though. I don't think he'd feel shame. So
he's got no embarrassment, mate.
Yeah, he would just own it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've once seen that man, and I'm pretty sure I can't remember. I think both of you were there as well when he stripped off stark bollock naked, and it was during the ALS ice bucket challenge thing, and we had filled a wheelbarrow full of water.
That was at Adam's house. In his back garden.
Yeah, because he stripped off, ran into the wheelbarrow, and then someone set flat on him.
Yeah. It was Cameron, wasn't it?
Yes.
Were you there for that, were you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fucking hell.
Mate,
that's classic.
We used to drink a lot together.
Yeah.
Many photos of me pretending to fuck you. From what I could tell, that was my main party thing.
Oh, that came up memories of it, Dave. That was cool as fucking. Was it your 18th? I couldn't go out, could I? When we had that, you had your party at the fucking. I think it was Onicknall.
Oh yeah.
Was that your 18th?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was. That was my 18th. Yeah.
That was
good times, man. We got pissed at Chris Groves.
Yes, that was it.
Yeah, because I couldn't go out, could I? So we all got hammered at Chris Groves' house, and then walked over to your party.
That was all of us dressed in shirt and ties, all doing Barney fucking Stimson.
Yeah. So I was obsessed about me and everyone like that again.
Yeah. But no, I can't remember where a lot of them were, to be honest. I know a lot of them I walked back from Southway back to Liam, but aside from that, I don't know where in Southway all the drinks were happening. I just happened to be there.
3 tracks.
Yeah,
it's alright. It all improved after I found cocaine. That was. Did I say that out loud again?
Yeah, you did. You said that out loud again.
Oh no, the Rozzers are gonna get me. Guys, it's okay. I'm clean and sober. Have been for a while. It's painful. I don't want to be, but I am. Kids, do drugs.
No, kids, don't do drugs. Jesus Christ. I might as well not be here at this point. I can't control.
Just start talking about music again.
For anybody who's listening to this one, I'm not going to apologise for my behaviour. Fuck you.
Alright, here's a question. To get us back into
Is our guest having to take control? Because
I've given up. I've lost the will. I've given up.
This is not happening.
Alright, it's my podcast now, bitches. Shut up.
Welcome to the Songs That Made Us, host Mike Ditch.
What would you class as your top metal album of the last decade? I know you're not massive metal fans anymore, but you've obviously listened to a lot of albums over the last 10 years.
Nightmare by Avenged.
Nightmare is a good shout.
Other than your favourite albums, I reckon, actually, because Shogun would be involved in that, I think. No, it wouldn't.
No.
2008,
Shogun is 2003, you said?
Ew.
God, I don't know for me, man. I haven't listened to much metal in a long time. The thing is, when I dip back into metal, I go back into classics that I never listened to before, sort of thing. So I was suddenly not long ago, I was like, I never really listened to Slayer, so I'll go back and I'll listen to Slayer. Or I'll be like, oh, I remember liking Machine Head, I'm going to go listen to some more Machine Head, sort of thing. Nightmare is a really good shout. I had loved that album to pieces when it fucking came out. I still love that album. Yeah. Is All Hope Is Gone in the last episode?
Is it?
I'm pretty sure it's 2008. I could be wrong.
You might be right, actually. No, I think you are right. I thought it was 2010.
No, I remember it still coming out when I was at school. So yeah, August 20th, 2008.
Look at you go, mate.
A fucking great year for music, man.
Yeah, in hindsight, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah. Which, ironically, it's fucking weird to say it, but because of the amount of great music that's been in the last decade, the Slipknot's latest album is my favourite album in the last decade.
Yeah. Joel said the same thing. I've only listened to it the once, and I was like, yeah, it's all right.
It's fucking incredible. It's a musical masterpiece. Just an all-round.
You guys have hyped it up for me. I'm gonna get back into it again.
So outside of metal, then Connor, what would be just your album of the last decade?
Album of the last decade? Oh, fuck me, man. I don't know. I listen to a massive of any genre.
Any genre.
Shit.
The album of the last decade. And don't play the card of I listen to a lot of music. Shoot. We both host a music podcast.
Yeah, of course. So I would
under the assumption we both listen to music.
The thing is I'm gonna say one and then you guys won't know it. But I will probably say for me, it's a bit of a generic pick for people who do know the album, but I'd say Frank Ocean, Blonde.
Yeah, I have no idea what that is.
Frank Ocean's a great R&B sort of hip hop soul singer. He's got a fucking amazing voice. You would know one or two of his tracks. There's the track that was famous on Vine back in the day, where it's like, a tornado flew around my room before it came. Yeah, that's actually one of his songs, Thinking About You, on his Channel Orange album.
I still have no idea.
Yeah, basically he's got the most amazing voice, and he produces a lot of his own stuff, and it's really fucking good. If we're sticking to hip hop as well, maybe Tyler the Creator, Flower Boy, because that album is insane. And then if not hip hop, then I'll go Tame Impala, Currents, which is a good sort of indie rock and roll album. Which you guys wouldn't listen to any three of them, so there's no point in me bringing them up.
24/7 Rockstar Shit by the Cribs, the album that literally saved my life.
Fair. That is the Cribs are sick.
Indeed.
There's no going around that.
So
what about you, Mike, in the last decade?
Non-metal for you, though. We'll make
non-metal.
You're fucking right, I don't listen to anything, but I'll tell you. It's hard, because my two genres are pretty much metal or piss-up music. And when I'm pissed off, I don't really pay attention to the music like that.
Yeah.
Non-metal.
That's the problem. There's been so many fucking albums in the last 10 years. It's hard to think of a single album anyway.
Yeah, but
there's definitely an album out there.
In the last 10 years.
Yeah, there's definitely an album out there that I prefer than all the albums I've said that I probably can't remember right now.
To be fair, I forgot about Anthem for Doomed Youth by Libertines.
Is that the last 10 years?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Yeah.
Yes, that's when it had a Gunga Din and Fame and Fortune on.
That would be on mine as well then.
And they played it all live.
I can't think, to be fair, non-metal album. I don't think I've listened to an album in full unless it is metal.
You're just a proper metal head, mate.
I'm stubborn as fuck, mate, with music.
Yeah.
I'm not at the same time. Like I'm getting. I don't know. It's just Motley Crue's class as metal, isn't it?
I suppose you could say glam.
Yeah.
But that's glam metal still. But,
still metal, isn't it? Yeah.
I hate glam.
It's Motley Crue in the last 10 years?
No.
No, I was about to say I discovered Motley Crue in the last 10 years, so it's like maybe I can get away with that one. But...
Yeah, I remember the re-release of Smoking in the Boys' Room from 2014. Or Kickstart My Heart 2, the sequel.
The fucking sequel?
No. Yeah, unfortunately, Nicky Sixx had another overdose he had to sing about.
Jesus Christ.
What? That's what the original was about.
I mean, yeah, you're right.
He had an overdose. They threw him into a dumpster. And he got resuscitated by paramedics.
What about Pendulum Immersion? Did that come out in the last 10 years?
No, that was 2007, I think.
How are you guys so good with dates? Jesus Christ.
What the fuck happened to Pendulum? They were a big deal for like 2 seconds.
No, so after their Immersion release, which was a fucking amazing album, they disbanded, and then basically half of them went and made the drum and bass group Knife Pie, which are really fucking good as well. If you like drum and bass. Yeah, I think it was announced recently, actually. I may be wrong, that Pendulum are getting back together.
Yeah, I heard that like a year or two ago.
Yeah, which I'd be fucking super happy for. Oh shit! Yeah. What about Prodigy? Was the one with Omen and stuff in the last 10 years?
I don't think Keith Flint's done a lot lately.
No, of course not. But that was recent. Like, is Invaders Must Die? Is that the last 10 years? No? You're shaking your head at me.
No, I think he's shaking it at me.
Huh? Oh,
he's shaking it at me for my comment about Keith Flint.
Yeah, if Invaders Must Die is in the last 10 years, then that would be up there. That's a fucking amazing album.
What about Black Star by Dave Bowie?
Yeah, that album's so fucking good. You never really listened to Bowie, have you, Mike?
I listened to, well, I wouldn't say listen to. I know some of his older songs, but I wouldn't intentionally put it on.
Yeah, fair.
Bowie in space.
Bowie's in space.
To be fair, because of one of my work, man. I would be in the same van every day at work. It's like for 2 years running, I was working with him, and he's a massive Elvis fan.
Oh, mate, Elvis is sick.
I got really big time into Elvis for about a good year. And some of like the older tunes, like Billy Idol and all that lot, they like started getting more into that sort of genre.
Yeah, fair man.
With a rebel,
but now I'm like with a guy called Jared, and it's just like he likes all music, but he's not really a big music fan, so he just goes to the general like pop and EDM and all that crap. Which again, I don't mind, but I wouldn't intentionally put it on.
Yeah. The thing, mate, Elvis is like obviously he's not underrated because he's one of the biggest. He was one of the biggest stars of all time.
Yeah, but it's just not.
People don't. People don't realize how fucking amazing a singer he was, though. His voice, he genuinely had an amazing voice. If you listen to some of his more like mellower tracks or more bluesy tracks, that it's insane, really insane.
Unfortunately, his arsehole produced the most amazing noise of his life.
Fuck's sake. Why is this podcast about arseholes?
The worst part is, I was laughing for a good 45 seconds beforehand, thinking about saying that. Going, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it.
I saw you chuckling, and I was like, what's he about to say?
But it is fair. If your arsehole can put you to death, perhaps he should have recorded that in the fucking studio. Rather than steal the black man's music.
Fair.
One last tune before he goes.
Little Richard was better than Elvis. Without Little Richard, there's no Lemmy.
Fair.
Without Elvis, the world continues nicely.
I mean, they were both good.
So Elvis had a fascination with professional wrestling in the Memphis area. 'Cause professional wrestling was huge in Memphis.
Okay.
And there were many, many rumors about him fucking the female wrestlers back then.
Oh wow.
Respect.
Yeah. And bear in mind,
My boy.
a lot of those-
Elvis probably got like all of the sex all of the time. It's Elvis. That's basically what I'm saying is your story isn't that remarkable, Jake.
No, but it was just he had a thing for I can't remember if it was Mildred Burke who was the female wrestler back at the time, but they were all quite sort of homely back then.
Oh, fair.
Wrestlers, but yeah, no, Elvis used to apparently go around and try and wrestle, and but no, I think my favourite rockstar sex story though is John Entwistle's of smashing out several lines of cocaine, fucking 2 prostitutes, and then dying of a heart attack.
Lovely.
That's an epic way to go, to be fair.
Yeah, that's the way to go if you're a rock star, isn't it?
Dream way to go.
It's a very rock star death. Jesus.
Yeah, he died as he lived, basically. His bass lines were always the equivalent of snorting several lines of coke and fucking 2 prostitutes. Like, he never actually played in time with a song. He just did his own thing. And Whistle did. That's why I can't rate him as a bassist. Because he's not really a bassist. He's more of he's a lead bassist, I suppose, but he wasn't as good as John Paul Jones.
Jean-Paul Jones.
So come at me, Who fans. And Jaco Pastorius was a far better bassist than him as well, but I'm only giving out ooh la la kind of bassists now.
Ooh la la.
You okay?
I'm not dying. Corona's taking me.
I love how you devolved for a brief 5 minutes into just responding to Jake's sentences with accents, and then it's come back to bite you in the ass.
Ooh la la. Famous last
on the French speaking it.
You are falling apart, man.
Next you'll hit me with the vavavoom as well.
Vavavoom.
Good old Thierry Henry.
Thierry Henry, yeah.
Good old Thierry Henry.
Good old Thierry.
If you guys are going to start talking about football again, I'm going to leave.
No, I don't watch football anymore, mate, so...
That's right. Me and Joel talked about it earlier. We talked about the state of Norwich.
Yeah, man. And I just shut off. I was like, I was literally in my own world. I forgot I even existed. I was just staring into space.
I've got an idea for another podcast then, Connor. What we need to do is we need to do the top 5 football chants.
Sorry, Jake. What were you on about?
I'm sorry, but the Jake you were looking for is no longer here.
It would be the Connor you're looking for is no longer here.
Football Jake has arrived.
No, this I'm talking about me, you twat, not you.
I can't take you seriously. You're still in this sort of space capsule. Have you noticed? So for our listeners, this entire time I've tried to not mention it, but it's been bothering me. Jake's put this weird filter on so that he looks like he's in a spaceship.
I didn't want that, to be fair. When I came on, I was like, why has he done that? Is your room a shithole? You're trying to hide it or something.
No. To be fair, I've done all of them just normal with my room in the background, but I got a notification on Skype just saying you can use these new filtered backgrounds. I was like, this is going to make Connor laugh.
And it did. The second I opened it.
Well, that's because I was also pulling a funny face at you as well, which was basically begging you to notice. Because Connor's the most oblivious person in the world.
No, well, it turns out Mike is. I'm surprised Mike didn't mention it, in all fairness.
No, I just thought it was normal, so I didn't bother. I didn't want to be like the 18th person to go, why have you got a fucking screen in the background?
No, this is the debut. I have also questioned
the debut of Space Room.
Yeah, this is where I was made, and this is where I now live. I'm like one of the fucking androids from Dragon Ball.
You can tell what that fucking robot arm's for, you dirty bastard.
Well, a man's got to have things to do.
To be fair, if your cock's that fat, Jake, in respect.
Well, I don't want to make any promises or guarantees, just in case anyone who I talk to on Tinder is listening, but the answer is yes.
I don't know of Slipknot, and I'm going back now. Have you listened to Corey Taylor's new song?
No, Joel mentioned this as well. We've still got to.
Corey motherfucking Taylor.
You and Joel are like the same person, man. It's just you're a lot more, I don't know how to put it, falling apart.
Wow.
Yeah, Joel's got his shit together. What's going on, Mike?
Well, I got kicked.
I got
something right.
What do you make of Joel's new long hair?
Oh, I think it suits him, to be fair. I think he looks
fucking-
badass.
I was quite
awesome,
keen on it.
Yeah, it suits him. He's had a lot of abuse for it off my
Jake's-
family.
what do
They
you
all
think
think
of
he looks like a dick.
What do you think of Jake's purpley blue hair?
It is purple.
To be fair, on the camera, it just looks normal. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the filter kind of like numbs it out a little bit.
Well,
I do like the mohawk.
Hmm?
I do like the mohawk.
Yeah, it was more mohawky a few weeks back, but I've
Mohawky.
Mohawky is that the gay way of saying it? Mohawky.
Camp way of saying it.
I just like the fact that, as Connor was saying, that he was also scratching his armpit hair, like in a alluring manner at us.
Come on. What is this podcast? What are we doing?
Hey there. I can't do it.
Well,
Man.
put it this way, I have arrived.
Unfortunately, Connor, I can't reciprocate with my armpit hair because I did shave mine. I had a bit of a male grooming session.
Yeah. Thanks for letting me and Mike
Why'd you shave
and
your
all of our
armpit hair?
listeners.
No chest hair either.
Why?
No stomach hair. It looks weird.
Got the El Natural.
Yeah, I went. Well, I just thought fuck it, and
Changed.
shaved down there as well.
What you should have done is instead dyed it all purple.
Oh, have I told that story on the podcast yet?
What?
The I did deny on the Arctic Monkeys one.
What?
The Tinder one with.
Yeah, you have.
girl
Yeah,
was like,
yeah, you have.
What? Are your pubes green as well? Oh, I'll tell you after the podcast, Mike. It's a good story.
No.
I do have 2 stories of me being a fucking idiot though. If you wish to indulge
There's
me
only
from.
2?
This is 2 that I haven't told yet that are fresh.
Go on. Give it me a.
So the first one. So I'm starting a law degree next year, in February. Sorting out my student finance.
Yeah, this guy, everyone listening, this guy right here with all the shit he comes out with is starting a law degree.
It's so I know when I'm committing libel or not. It's a preventative measure. I mean, you could also big me up and say that I'm a really intelligent person, that the law degree would suit me and I can make a shit ton of money and make this podcast fucking spectacular. But no, instead you bring me down.
I'm sorry. I would never do that to one of my closest friends. I wouldn't expect you to do it to me, Jake. So I shouldn't do it to you. I'm sorry.
You're a beautiful man with beautiful eyes.
Thanks, mate. Blowjob eyes, apparently.
Bedroom eyes, some would say. Dark and dusky.
All right, what's the story?
So I put my student finance request like months ago. Going through it, sorting it all out, because I need to send in my passport or whatever, or do a scan of my passport to be like, I am who I am. But my passport is 20 years out of date, and I was about 4 when the picture was taken, and it looks like I've got a far more impressive beard than I ever did in my life because of the way the shadow hits me, which is brilliant. I love it. And I may upload it at some point so people can see, because it is majestic. It looks like I've got a full Joel Ditch going on, you know. I look like a little fucking monkey more than anything. Like, do you remember the kid in the kid in Jumanji when he starts turning into a monkey?
Yeah.
That's how
he looks like him.
But I came to the realization as I'm looking through my student finance application, I'd done it for the wrong fucking year. I was sat there going, oh, I'm really intelligent here. I'm definitely. Apparently, according to my own brain, I'm studying this year, and I did not fucking agree to that. So I had to go through the whole fucking process again. And the second one was I made a major faux pas last night on Tinder. So I've been chatting to a person. I don't want to break any ground here, but there are people I chat to occasionally.
Okay, nice.
And I wish to say nothing more on that subject. But no, we were just talking about how fucking hot it was. I was like, yeah, I'm pretty much half blobfish at this point. Went to send a gif of a blobfish. There was a picture of a fish with all love hearts around it next to it, and I accidentally clicked that, sent that. And my immediate reaction was to be like, ah! What have I done? I did not mean to send that. Fuck off. There's no love hearts for you. This is what I meant to send. Blobfish.
Is that what you told her? Sorry, didn't mean to send that. Here's an actual blobfish.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
That's the most disappointing. From her perspective, she could have been like, ah.
Dickhead.
To be fair, I don't think I was rocking her word beforehand.
Right.
So this latest disappointment is a long string of disappointments prior. But aside from that, I've got no new fresh stories of me being a failure or me hiding down at aisles in Sainsbury's or anything like that.
Oh man, that's disappointing. You need to go to Sainsbury's more. We need content that isn't just Mike farting.
Hey, that's the best content you're gonna get.
I did refuse to sleep in a room with you the other week and slept on a kitchen floor, a hardwood kitchen floor, face down, and snored my ass off. Apparently,
That's true. That's true. So for our listeners,
talk about
we
the
went
water.
to. Oh right, yeah. So for our listeners, we went to a party, with some really close friends of ours, and it's the first time. Oh yeah, Harriet Davies, who's been on the episode before. Hello, Harriet, if you're listening. Yeah, we love you, and sorry for all the smut in this podcast.
I think she remembers me.
Yeah, she would probably remember you, man.
She fucking hated me, so it'd be interesting.
She'll definitely remember you then.
Do you want us to quiz her on a podcast, like in a few weeks' time?
Hey?
Yeah,
do you want us to interrogate her on a podcast in a few weeks' time? Be like, do you remember Mike did?
Yeah, you little cunt. That's what she'll say.
I really hope she says those exact words. Yeah. But anyway, so we went to a party around there with a load of other friends from like old classmates from drama and stuff. And it's the first time Jake had drunk any alcohol in 6 years, was it?
Yeah, thereabouts. 6
years. Which, for anyone listening, it's not a case of like Jake went into relapse or anything like that. It's something he wanted to do. Yeah, it's just something you were ready for, wasn't it, mate? I don't have to justify it. I don't have to speak for you. Anyway, I'm carrying on with the story.
I don't know if I was ready, but I decided to commit.
Yeah, and commit he did, fucking hard. So we went to Asda to get some beers and stuff beforehand, and Kieran was dropping us to Harriet's, and Jake thought, oh yeah, what I'll do to pay Kieran for driving us just to Tavistock, which is a few miles, I'll buy him a whole bottle of Jägermeister, a big bottle, because that way I'll be able to drink it while I'm there. And so Jake,
it's his Machiavellian thoughts that
while we're all having this lovely evening and catching up and everything like that.
I'm sorry, but what else did I buy? I'm pretty sure there's a bottle of vodka and a 12-pack.
Yeah, there's a bottle of vodka and a 12-pack of beer.
All of which was consumed.
Yeah. So basically, we all got there. We're having a lovely evening, and Jake is just getting hammered, like proper drunk. He's having the best time of his life, but really, really drunk. And he does smash 12 beers, a whole bottle of Jägermeister with our friend Kieran, and goes fucking hard on a bottle of vodka straight as well. Luckily, you weren't an aggressive drunk that night or anything like that. You were just having the time of your life. We were playing that game Heads Up, where you hold your phone to your head, and the person holding the phone up has got to guess what's written on the phone while other people act it out.
Nobody told me that cheating was not allowed.
Well, no, drunken Jake just didn't understand the concept. So every time someone left it up, Jake was like, well, it's this. He just kept reading it out, and everyone was like, Jake, shut the fuck up. We're trying to perform it. He's like, but it's this, though. It says it right there.
The best part about it is I was still relatively in control at that point.
Yeah.
So it was just me being me.
Yeah.
It's the worst part.
It definitely got to a stage where it was winding down, though. And, well, everyone was winding down apart from Jake. Jake was definitely Hype City. And he was riding high, and he was getting a bit drunk. So we were like, all right.
I was very drunk. I'll have you know.
So I was like, all right, I'm gonna get Jake some water, and we'll go outside. We'll have a cigarette. I'll talk him down, everything like that. So I get him a glass of water. We go outside for a cigarette, and then I hand Jake the glass of water, and Jake looks at it and goes, water. And I was like, yeah, man, you need it. Just have a glass or two, then you can get back and have a couple of beers, all right? And he's like, oh, all right, everything like that. So he has a massive, like, load of water put into his mouth, and I thought he swallowed it, but he's just staring at me dead in the face with a really most intense look. And I just say, what? And before I finish saying the word what, he spits it all over me, like, right in my face and down me and everything like that. And I'm in the doorway, so it's gone into the house as well.
Like I'm a fucking llama.
I was just like, you fucking prick. He's pissing himself laughing, and I have a distinct, like, feeling, because he's holding a pint glass of water, and the way Jake was acting, I was so certain he was about to throw it for no reason. So I'm now
just to put a bit of context there as well. It's not like I haven't done that before.
Exactly.
I famously once smashed a bottle outside our friend's house, and when Connor tried to cover me and say, like, oh, he just dropped it, I just proceeded to shout, No, I fucking smashed it on purpose. I've had many instances. I did it in my own house party once. So
Yeah. So I had a brief wrestle with Jake to get this glass off of him, but then he downed the water and he was all good. And then everyone else was winding down, they were going to bed, and me, Jake, and Kieran were supposed to be sleeping in like this living room on a few sofas that were there. But Jake refused to go to bed and refused to come in. So he lies down face first on the wooden floor in the kitchen, in the middle of the kitchen, with his face buried in his backpack, and almost straight away falls asleep.
Which is rare for me because I'm an insomniac.
Yeah. And all night he was joking and yelling to everybody, like literally yelling, but he thought he was probably having an inside voice going, I'm not sleeping in the same room with Connor. Connor snores. He's got the worst fucking snore on earth. And he'll keep me up all fucking night. Within minutes of him being asleep, dead, face first, on the fucking floor in the kitchen, you hear this rapid, loud snoring. And by rapid, I mean he's doing this. It's all inhale, and we're not sure whether he's ever breathing out. But the thing is, the front room, this is quite a big house, and the front room is quite some distance away from the kitchen. And me and Kieran are laid down in the front room, and we can hear it as though he's in the room with us. It was so stupidly loud. And the next morning, everyone wakes up, goes into the kitchen, and he's still there, like completely in the same position, like passed out stone cold on the floor.
I think Kieran came in, did a few bits first, he buggered off. I then woke up, and then Harriet and Kieran came in, and all I could hear was Harriet shout, "Oh, and he's on the floor." To which I just raised my middle finger up in the air and waved it in their general direction. And then everyone proceeded to ask me like, "Oh, are you okay? You got a hangover?" It's like, "Nope, I'm feeling fucking fantabulous."
Yeah, you were annoyingly okay. I was a bit drained the next day. I wasn't hungover, but you were annoyingly okay.
I just looked back.
Did you sleep for?
About 6 hours. Around about that.
I was gonna say, I tend to be like the best thing for it, doesn't it? I know sometimes you do wake up a thick head, but good night's sleep normally.
But you have no idea how drunk he was, man. He was riding on the biggest high.
It was brilliant because everybody who I fucking spoke to, like at work, at the party, my friends, whatever, were always like, "You do realize you're gonna have a fucking massive hangover. You cannot drink the way that you used to." So okay, I'll take that as a challenge. So
yeah, and that's the thing. That's the thing you were doing. You were proving to yourself that you could get absolutely smashed and be okay, and then you were proving to yourself that you wouldn't be hungover.
I remember shouting at everybody using my inside voice. I like to think, but it was probably very much shouting. I know I apologise a lot for being drunk, but I shouted at everybody. Positive mental attitude. That's how you don't have a hangover.
The story literally sounds like you, all of us, are thinking.
Yeah, it's essentially the same shit. Different day, different age.
Put it this way: all I proved is that I could drink everyone under the table and wake up fine.
Well,
I think it was my successful story.
Well, on that boastful note, should we say our favourite songs from the album?
Well, as a podcast host, Connor, I believe you should. Because let's face it, I've ruined the majority of the song.
So, Mike, we do this thing where we guess each other's favourite songs from the album. Did you want to go first in guessing mine and Jake's?
Waking
we
a
guess
Demon
like
for you, Connor.
What's that?
Waking a Demon for you.
That's a yes.
It's not a yes.
You would Take It Out on Me or Screaming Fire for Jake.
Okay. What do you reckon, Connor?
I was going to say Scream Aim Fire for you, Jake. Although partially I was thinking Waking the Demon for you. Mike, I have no idea what your favourite on this album would be. I kind of want to say Deliver Us From Evil. I don't know why. I feel like I remember you singing that back in the day.
I used to love that song, but to be fair, it's probably one of my least favourites on that album.
Fair.
I am going for Mikhail. Say Goodnight. For Connor, I'm going Waking the Demon.
Ooh. Was anybody right about anyone's?
Mike was right about me. You said Scream Aim Fire as well, didn't you, Con?
Yeah.
So, yeah, Mike got both the right answers that you could have had, which is Take It Out on Me and Scream Aim Fire.
Nice.
And, yeah, you also got it right.
Fair.
What about you?
Mine is always been Hearts Burst Into Fire. I fucking love that song.
I always forget that song's on the album.
Yeah, man, it's such a great song. I just like the build of it. I like the guitar riff at the start, and it just has this really nice epic feel, and it's really melodical, so I quite enjoy it.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
what was your favourite, Mike?
Last to Know.
Last to Know. Fair, man. Fair.
Did you listen to the Creeping Death cover? It was on the special edition.
Yeah.
The only good cover they've ever done.
Yeah, it's a good cover. I really enjoyed that.
The only thing
Creeping Death's like one of my favourite songs from Metallica.
The only thing that was missing was Jason Newsted.
Yeah.
If they got him in, I would have been happy.
Do you reckon we'll have a podcast soon where we don't talk about Metallica?
If we're doing metal, no.
No, true that.
I think
it always be Metallica and Iron Maiden.
Well, I'm assuming
Metallica just a generally good example for any music.
Yeah.
Like for anything, any topic,
especially for rock or metal, 100%.
I somehow managed to talk about Metallica a lot during the Indelicates one as well, so I don't know whether it's just on my mind lately.
Fair enough, man. It's because of S&M too.
Possibly. It's because that was stuck in my head of your verbal abuse of these old legends who are just trying to go about their day job. How would you like it if Hetfield turned up at your work and started shouting at you whilst you're on the phone call? You shit!
I'm not there. I wasn't there, and I didn't run on stage and go, "Why the fuck are you on stage, you old bag?"
Your shit. Oh yeah. Your shit.
Right.
Yeah, motherfucker.
Right. I think there, guys. I unfortunately will have to call it. I'm the most unprofessional podcast host who backs out.
I gotta go as well, to be fair, because my boy wants to come to bed now. So
Oh, bless him.
10 o'clock at night. It's not bless him. He should be in bed already.
That's fair.
You're fucking lightweights.
That's what you were like on that night, on that party, mate.
I wasn't a lightweight, mate.
Are you drunk right now? Is that why you've been so fucking crazy this podcast?
No, I think that's more the mental illness, isn't it, Connor?
Wow. Well, on that really positive, happy note, thanks very much for listening, everybody. If you enjoyed the podcast,
I don't have like a LGBT card to play. I could just got mental illness,
yeah.
and I will use it to get off of for bad behaviour.
Well, you're just gonna finish it to get off then.
Oh, I do that as well. Aren't you a sad little boy? As my tears run down, lubricating it.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And on that note, people,
this has been a disgusting podcast.
That is the mental image I want you to leave it on. I want people to.
I don't think I'm going to listen to this back, to be honest.
My cock glistening with my tears.
God damn.
Oh, class.
Right.
I shall speak to you boys later.
Cheers.
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 Cheers for listening.
Bye, bro.